Hello and welcome to the open division game between the Toronto Tempest and the Toronto Tadpoles. This is going to be a battle of Toronto as two teams, Toronto Tempest and formerly the Washington Wraiths that have changed their name to Tadpoles, a little bit of an adversarial move, are going to be playing against each other in this open match.
Battle
Now,
of Toronto, we're going to see two tough teams try and turn the tides.
oh man, that's too much alliteration. So, one thing of note is that both of these teams used to be rosters of the Overwatch Community Cup server, which is why we were asked to cast this game. Also interesting is that by RNG alone, these two teams ended up playing against each other in the open, which is pretty funny if you ask me.
Right, the Tempest, I believe, are a bleed off of was it the Wraiths?
The Toronto Tempest are the same name from their Community Cup counterpart. Meanwhile, the Washington Wraiths, in a bit of fun, have temporarily renamed themselves to the Toronto Tadpoles.
And we all know how much of a meme Tide Pods are this generation, so this should be a fun one.
Yeah, maybe we'll see Toronto Tempest swallow the Tadpoles. Don't do that, kids. That's dangerous.
Please don't, yeah. We do not sanction any sort of detergent ingesting. It's very dangerous. You can kill yourself. Do not. Bad idea.
But if you want to go ahead and beat the Toronto Tadpoles, go for it.
And we'll see how that's going to go. We do have some pretty... I don't really know the players themselves, but I have seen that these are some decently high-level teams that we got fighting today.
Yeah, we've seen... we see some GMs, we see some diamonds, we see some high plats. This is going to be a very high-caliber game for this open division match. We're going to go over and look at some of these players in particular. Also, something of note is that we should be going to Junkertown for map 1, which is always a strange map, but always fun to see what kind of broken, weird meta is running on that map in particular.
Yeah, you've got to wonder. I'm sure Hanzo's kept his spot thanks to the prevalence of now Brigitte, but also how well Junkertown works with his stuff. Even without scatter, you have a lot of long sightlines for snipers on that map. And you've got to wonder what role... Oh. I suppose we're going to Ilios first?
Well, as we get this game set up, we'll see where we're going. Okay, so it does seem that we are going to Ilios, in fact.
And this is the Widow dual map. It should be mentioned. The ruins provide some extra long sightlines. You have certain areas, for example, the top of these two temples here, that really do allow for peak Widow battles and peaking Widow battles.
Yeah, don't peek too much, though. You'll get your head shot off.
Exactly, because this map is really a battle for that control, because you have so many sight lines onto the point and not really many ways to fight back.
Yeah, it really is. This is probably the map where one team can have a solo carry. That's not really a thing that happens often in Overwatch, because it is a team-based game, but this is a map where one really good Widow can get your team much further than otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to look at these compositions. We see the Tadpoles are running a classic dive, like character for character, including Widowmaker, which is interesting because dive's kind of dead, but they might be trying to take down Unwanted's Widowmaker. But Unwanted's team over on the Tempest are running the newer composition of Deathball.
Right. Not to mention, Brigitte with the Deathball has been crazy. You get so much extra armor. Plus, we had the Tempest are running the Junkrat, which will stop any dives onto him or anyone in his general vicinity.
Yeah, they're definitely running a very anti-dive composition. But if they can give Jupiter some space, they can start taking the lead. As Unwanted does go down, but so does the Winston. And honestly, despite the fight happening near the point, it wasn't on the point, which means that the Tempest were able to cap first. Picks are going against them, though.
Look at all these picks that Jupiter is getting, really opening up the field for the Tadpoles.
Yeah, it's just pick after pick. They might have lost it while they fought next to the point, but they took it very quickly, and that's going to give them the percent lead.
And we do see some of the Tadpoles going ahead to try and stagger Widow the best they can. Although they are being a little bit aggressive at this point.
Yeah, now with Moira unwanted, does have room to get some shots up in the air. Gets a body shot onto the Zenyatta, but doesn't finish him off. Remember the days when body shots would kill Zenyatta? Because sometimes I cry.
I'm glad I forgot those.
Oh, but now there's a blade onto Unwanted. He's going to go down. Pyrosanical is going in. He's going to get a couple more. The rest of his team is going to pick up some kills, and now it's just a couple left of the Tempest.
And the Tide Pods are just cleaning up the Tempest.
What kind of cycle do you think they're on?
What's that one? Definitely not Delicate, that's for sure.
In any case, Tempest are going to come back. They've spotted Dual Core on the left, but they're not going to be able to capitalize. Mosquito Game is going to try and get some grenades. But meanwhile, the push just isn't really happening. They're very spread out.
Yeah.
And now there's a Diva Bomb right behind them.
For how aggressive the Tide Pods dive has been, because of how scattered, like you said, that the Tempests have been, the dives have been working out really well. There's been very little red in this kill feed.
Yep. Now that Diva Bomb did not go nearly as far as Diva would have hoped, but Tide Pods are still holding on to this point.
Digi, but for how much longer?
Yeah, before Digi could Primal, he gets Earth Shattered. This might be a cap, although kills are still coming in from both sides. And any stall
really
is still
just
really
Pyrosanical.
good.
He's gonna drop that Dragon Blade.
Not for long. Unwanted does pick that kill up pretty quickly, but unbeknownst to him, Jupiter is still here on this high ground.
And Jupiter has been very scary this match, opening up the point early and picks right now like that one.
Yeah, speaking of opening it up, that's main healer down, McCree half health. There's not a lot of healing now since they're only running 2 healers.
Exactly, and with Brigitte's meta right now, you have to realize that Brigitte does not do a lot of healing. She is not really a Lucio replacement, yeah, even though she fills that same role.
She's an off-tank at best, definitely not someone you want to run in that secondary healer support if you only have 2. But the Tempest are really pushing back. They're going to hold on to this a little bit longer despite losing their Moira early on. But Bookshelf goes down, and they pushed back, but then they weren't able to sustain that fight. And
no,
only
not
10%.
at all. And this is going to be last push for the Tempest in this first point. You really got to wonder how they're going to do this, especially with Brigitte being so disconnected from her entire team.
Yeah, but she died to a mine. That's how low she was. And now a dive onto Unwanted. That Widow will not be an option. But look at all the kills on the side of Tide Pods. That's just going to be a stop here. Duocore does go down.
Stops the hammer down mid-animation. That ult is gone.
Yeah, despite getting the Mercy, that's not going to be enough. Another blade from Pyrosanical.
That's going to be it. Tide Pods will handily take map 1. And you know what? That last push, I really think the Tempest might have had a shot, but they had both of their healers trickle into the point alone.
Yeah, it probably should not have been as scattered as it was. The Brigitte only functions well if she's with the rest of her team. That's how her healing aura works. That's how her armor ult works. So if she's going in alone, even if it's to contest, it's not worth it.
And even if you have your rally, it's better to go in with your team and give them all the extra armor on top of yourself. Yes, with her ult, Brigitte becomes a momentary tank, but that does not mean that she can solo tank in any regard.
Yeah, now we're going to move on to the second round of Ilios. Time for Tide Pods to either hold their lead or have Tempest to get a comeback.
Is this Season 2? We're seeing dive from both sides, not a Brigitte in sight.
Yeah, I mean, Tide Pods ran it so well, maybe Tempest decided we don't even need to run Death Ball, so we'll just run a better dive.
Yeah, and the thing about dive is that it is tried and true, and while Brigitte may be the meta, you do need to take some time to get used to her as a hero, especially in certain comps.
Yeah, and if
people need to get used to using Rein and Zarya again too, stuff like that.
And if your Brigitte's not up to snuff, and if they don't have a Brigitte, both teams might as well just play dive.
And you know what? The Tempest have a pretty good dive themselves, taking that point handily.
Yeah, now they're gonna stagger this poor baby diva, who opted not to jump off the cliff, but get onto the health pack. That's gonna stagger them a little bit longer.
Stop Diva Abuse 2019, please.
That's gonna be the next charity spray.
Please!
Next skit is Stop Diva Abuse. So now it's time for the return attack from the Tide Pods. Jupiter's getting close to ult, so is Pyrosanical. But DPS ults on both teams are coming up. So this might be looking to be an explosive fight.
As far as support ults, Bookshelf is very close to their Valkyrie too. So if they can get that off, that could win the team fight.
Alright, now here comes the dive, here comes the blade, there goes one. Mosquito can't use his blade this fight. Unwanted goes down as well, that's no DPS, it's just healers and tanks. And now with some
And the
cleanup.
Valkyrie.
And the celebratory Deadeye definitely wasn't necessary at that point. They are going to pick up this point.
I think that Deadeye might have been an attempt to get the Valking Mercy, although at that point, 3 picks down, there was not much. The Valk had already been wasted.
Yeah, it probably didn't need to be used, but Jupiter probably confident in that he can get another one soon.
Yeah, Jupiter looking very, very proficient on the hit scan heroes. He's got a fantastic McCree so far and a fantastic Widow.
But because he used it, Tidepods have no DPS ults, but both of them are up on the Tempest. Well, Unwanted used Pulse Bomb, didn't get anything, but Mosquito's got to be looking for a Blade right now to rain cap this point. Unwanted does go down to a Flashbang so low, but Dual Core spotted by Mosquito Game. This could be a Blade, or maybe he's going to hold on to it. No, here it comes. Dual Core, oh, gets chopped down. No Valkyrie allowed. Now it's just a Monkey. And this could be... Oh, okay, Diva gets booped off. But in any case, with a couple more picks, Tempest should be able to reclaim this point. And because of ult advantage, take it with more percent.
They should, but both of their tanks are still up. Oh, Doomfist, when did we get that in here?
Unwanted decided to show up 10 minutes late with Doomfist and coffee. And he is here making some room.
Working out pretty well. Speaking of coffee, looks like they got ground into the pavement. Some really hard punches coming out from Unwanted.
And it really
I'm kind of curious as using the Doomfist, though, in this situation.
I mean, it did work to get there. And maybe Tracer wasn't working out against McCree, but Doomfist doesn't really either.
He does kind of fit on dive, but you have to have a really coordinated dive for that to work out.
Oh, but he spots the Mercy, Dual Core's down, the sneaky Doomfist gets the kill. And now Valk is going to ensure this fight. That's going to be a quick cleanup, and only a couple more fights are going to be allowed with this time. But that Diva Bomb...
That was very nice. They were trying to get around the corner and just did not have enough time to get out. Unwanted, by the way, is going to stay on that Doomfist. He's very close to ult, and that is a very good zoning ult this close to the end of the game.
Yeah, and only 3% left. This is going to be a solid hold unless a miracle happens, and a miracle did not happen.
Couldn't get anywhere near the point. We even saw that the Tidepods have thrown out their own Doomfist just to try and close the gap, but no luck.
Yeah, we definitely see Toronto Tempest. Their dive is much more confident than their Death Ball, at least on King of the Hill, so we'll see how they play into this third round. Because it definitely looked not only closer, but it looked like Tempest had a solid lead.
Yeah, I really think the only thing holding them back was their attempt to run the quote-unquote meta that's been kind of coming about with the introduction of Brigitte and new Hanzo. But going back to the tried and true, it worked out really well for them, and they showed they had a better dive than the Tidepods.
But now it's going to be dive versus anti-dive. Tempest is going to be running their dive with Unwanted on the Widow against a Orisa Hog. Pyrosanical on the Reaper. Also kind of an anti-dive if Winston's on you.
I'm very surprised that the Tempest have not elected to run that Orisa Hog, especially on this map, well central. We've got environmental kills for days.
Ooh, but Dual Core's already low. Mosquito Game already finding a target, and Mercy is down. Back at Jupiter next. This was the cleanest dive I've ever seen on an anti-dive team.
They knew that the Tidepods were going to go anti-dive, and instead of going straight to point, they went around so that they didn't have any opportunity to use those environmental kills to their advantage.
Yeah, they ended up with a really good pincer attack from Mosquito, attacking from both sides. Which way are you supposed to put that Orisa barrier?
Exactly. That was a beautiful dive from the Tempest. And the ult advantage shows, too. Both DPS ult, almost there. Valk, almost there.
And meanwhile, almost not much on the side of the Tidepods. Mosquito Kim does get caught out, but with 90%, he's going to have ult soon, and he can really get into those supports again.
Oh, what a boop. There he goes. Pigs don't fly, apparently.
And that's just going to extend this lead even longer. Tidepods are going to have to back up and get their other tank, but Sykes is going to get another boop kill. Not environmental, but that just means that Orisa was that low.
Someone stop this Lucio.
Someone, please kill Lucio, please. Now Tempest at 50% and still hasn't needed to use their ults. Aside from Unwanted using these sightlines, they're going to have 5 ults about. Meanwhile, Pyrosanical got his, and that's kind of it. They do have Trance, So this
Yeah,
is
the Tide Pods are catching up. Valk will be up. They will have both support ults. The question is, when do you want to use that supercharger? Their zoning ults are a little bit further behind. What a pick from Jupiter, though.
yeah, but here comes a blade, possibly. Oh, Duocore actually goes down to the poison, and here's the blade, but into not only a Reaper ult, but also Transcendence. Picks are still going in favor of the Tempest, though. Pyrosanical chased down Lucio and didn't get anything off of it. Oh, poor Monkey Barrier ended up in the pit, but still, 83% and counting and not really in any danger. Tempest is looking to clean this up now.
It is really weird because Jupiter has been getting so many valued picks, but Jupiter's been the only one getting picks for the Tide Pods.
And poor Duocore's getting chased ring around the rosy, now valking on the point just to stall.
Forced to do it, because if you hadn't dropped that, you'd be dead and staggered in overtime. Not something you want to see.
Yep, and now this is the last chance for the Tide Pods to get back in. And a kill on the
pick.
bookshelf is a good start, especially a Diva Mech going next. Valkyrie is out. They're all committing a lot to this fight, but they need to if they want to start getting some percent.
And they got the point last second, but they had to drop so much on that. And even though neither team is... oh, sorry. And we do have a Blade coming very soon from Mosquito Game.
Yep, we've got Blade, we've got Diva Bomb. We also have a switch to Reinhardt to cover Jupiter's shots. The only thing close on the Tempest or on the Tide Pod side is Death Blossom.
Yeah, and you've got to wonder, they're still running this anti-dive, and with how well the Tempest combated it last time, are they going to be able to hold this point?
And not only defend this point, but defend it for 5 fights. This is a lot that they're going to have to hold on to. Can't lose any single interaction. Now here's
Rhine is
Pincer
also
attack,
really
and
helping.
here's a Death Blossom, but the Death Blossom was denied by Reinhardt's charge. Storm Shield is going to survive thanks to that defense matrix. Mosquito Game getting 2 more kills, and his blade is out. Going to take down the Widowmaker again if he can reach her. Jupiter just barely survives, but not much longer. N1 is going to finish off that kill.
A bit of a slow take, but right now I think it's what they needed. All that's left is Digi, and he goes, and they go down. Pyro's back on the point.
Yeah, but now it's just Trance. Death Blossom gets 2, but will it be enough?
Oh no, the Zen was almost there to save Pyrosanical.
It will not be enough. A slow take is exactly what they needed with as much time as they had. Somehow Pyrosanical got rezzed.
How did they get that res off?
Well, in any case, yeah, it is delaying the inevitable, and it is going to go to the Tempest in a turnabout fight.
It was. And like I said, I really think once they got to doing what they felt best at, which was dive, it seemed like they did super well.
Yeah, maybe their Death Ball needs work, or maybe they just need to go back to their cover picks, but they are going to win, and Mosquito Game is going to get play of the game. Getting just pick after pick in this opening fight against Orisa Hog.
Yeah, it was just such a beautiful dive and such a good read of this general strat. You anticipated the anti-dive and played your dive into it, but you played around it because you played in a different direction than they were expecting you to go.
Yeah, given the first round, that's not how I expected it to go, but like you said, they changed to dive, and maybe that's not the ladder meta or the Overwatch contenders meta, but really, in this situation, playing what you're best at can work out, especially if you're playing into dive. Now, if the Tide Pods had been running the meta of Deathball Brigitte, dive wouldn't have really worked, but they were playing dive as well, so Tempest was able to play their strong suit that they've been working on for the past, 3 seasons?
Yeah.
It's definitely...
Honestly, I think that's going to be... I don't know how long Brigitte is going to stick around. I know she's probably going to be in the meta for a while.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
There are new nerfs coming about. I think you've seen those.
Yeah, her armor is going to be taken down from 150 to 100, hopefully. There were one or two other nerfs.
Yeah, the bigger thing is that there's an extra second cooldown on the shield bash. Right. So it goes from 5 to 6 second ability.
Yeah, that's a minor nerf, but still, anything helps this behemoth of a healer.
She's not even that good of a healer.
Yeah.
It's the utility factor. That and the fact that she's a paladin makes so many people want to play her, myself included. Like, she's so fun in both concept and playstyle.
Yeah, she isn't that good at healing, but she can heal. She can 1v1 pretty much anyone in any situation. She's just so powerful given her 5-second stun and shift, which does not only push back but double the damage of her normal weapon. And then you have her ult on top of that gives everyone 150 armor, and a spot heal that does 150 and adds armor temporarily, almost as if it were a Zarya bubble.
That is true. Yeah, she's very, very strong. I think even with the nerf, she'll see some play, which means it's really nice that there are separate. What's the word? You now have two like separate team comps that can, as you see, be played against each other. You do have dive, and now you have death ball.
Yeah,
And I really think that like polished dives are going to take down sloppy death balls, and the opposite is also true.
absolutely. It's really, you can play a bunch of different compositions, but it does come down to what is more optimal and also how you play it.
There's the map factor too. Like if we were going to go to Junkertown, I would expect to throw Brigitte into that pirate ship mix. Because can you imagine?
That would be pretty nutty. Now, it does
Disgusting.
look like we are going to go to Dorado for the next map. And
Oh,
also,
I should. Oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
And also, Hanjo is in on Tadpoles as opposed to Duo Core, the Mercy that got a little bit bullied last time.
A little bit, yeah. Although this is the meta of Bully Mercy. That's
Yeah.
what dive always has been.
Although that's not the meta anymore.
True.
But
Yeah, I don't know what Kaplan's doing to this game.
yeah, but
Ugh.
I'm always up for more kinds of compositions being viable than just one. I really liked last season where dive was the meta composition, but you could also run death balls and you could also run anti-dive. Hopefully, the current death ball comp isn't the only thing that's viable. Moving
Well, see,
forward.
I don't think it will be because the current Deathball comp struggles with what Deathball's always struggled with is the issue of verticality.
Yeah, that's why even on maps like Gibraltar, you're able to run dive because verticality is just that important.
Exactly, the 2CP maps like that. Also, Gibraltar, another really big verticality focused map.
That is the map that I
So-
said.
Oh, I thought you said Anubis.
No.
Oh. Well, I meant Anubis. Then. Apologies.
That's fine. And Dorado, with its verticality, may be another map where we see more dive focused.
Yeah,
That
that's
being
totally true.
said, I think Death Ball's definitely the way to go, at least on attack, because it's going to be much easier to hunker down on the point with the current meta than it is for dive on a payload to go out and attack the defense in a counter dive.
Yeah. As far as the defense goes, on the first point, definitely expect Death Ball. But if that fails, maybe see a dive because you do have the courthouse ceiling that gives you that extra space, and also the bridges above Lumerica.
Yep, now we are going to be rolling on in. As Toronto Tempest will try to either extend their lead, or the Toronto Typods will try to get a point on the board.
You know, we need a daytime Dorado map, like just a cosmetic change.
That would be
Like
nice.
I know, Castillo is set in the sunset, but like have this whole map during the daytime. I think it'd be cool.
It's a very pretty map. I would like to see it in a brighter situation. Maybe during the next event they'll add something.
Also, shout out to those of you who still play the events. Apparently, and this is leaked information, so giving you this warning now if you want to mute the stream for about 30 seconds. Junkrat's getting a new skin, but also past cosmetic items will be coming back for the duration of the event.
Which is very exciting, and I hope at the discounted rate as they have been on repeat events.
I do too. I'm missing one Halloween voice line for Genji before I have everything, and if I have to pay 75, I'm going to be a little bit upset. All right, so looking at these compositions, we're going to see Unwanted sticking with the Doomfist, which is...
Well, he is on attack,
Interesting.
so we'll see how that works. But more pressing at hand is the Tidepods comp, because that's not something they can go back on. They're going to have Pyrosanical on the Junkrat. They are running Deathball. No Brigitte, though. So they're going to have 2 DPS. Widowmaker for long range, Pyrosanical for short, mid-range, and anti-dive. Still interesting that they're running this comp without a Brigitte.
I wonder if this is almost to counter Brigitte. Because the tanks and Junkrat can take care of her pretty well, and maybe you're worried about the healing factor on your end, and that's why you have the the Mercy, and also the Discord for extra damage and extra healing.
It is interesting, though, because you would be running a 3 support composition otherwise. But back to the Toronto Tempest. Unwanted is now on the Widow, but Mosquito is on the Pharah with the Mercy. That's definitely very anti-Brigitte, but it is going to be going up against Jupiter's Widowmaker, which is going to make things very difficult.
They have gone around the backside
but a
of
nice
the Tide
move.
Pods.
Mosquito brought Reinhardt down onto the ground. Baguette's down. Hanjo's going to be down next. No, he actually survives just barely. Not only that, but he rezzed Baguette as well. That's going to be Discord back as an option. Hanjo's still living, just jumping around. But the payload is moving forward. It got through the choke point, and it's not being contested.
Yeah, a lot of this fighting is happening off point, and the Tide Pods are a little bit scattered. This is only letting them get picked off quicker, and look how close this truck is to the payload. I mean, to the destination.
Yep, and now Iwan goes down, and that's just going to be a really clean walkthrough of the first point.
You've got to wonder right now about the Tide Pod strategy, because we are seeing Jupiter get a lot of very high-value picks, but the rest of the Tide Pods are getting picked off.
Yeah, not only is Jupiter getting good picks, but Baguette also got rezzed and Hanjo survived, so that should have been the time for Tide Pods to go back and win the fight.
But I suppose the Death Ball and a lot of the healing that's coming out, we do have Moira and Mercy on the side of the Tempest.
Yep, now here comes the tire from Pyrosanical, and it does find Syx, but it's so close to spawn that was it worth it? We'll see. Jupiter finding Unwanted does make it a little bit closer. Meanwhile, Mosquito Game is harassing that Widowmaker, but does have to get out. Gives us a little hello.
And the payload's not really being contested at all. It's just been solid movement. It looks like the Tide Pods are trying to hold at the bridge choke coming up, but...
Yeah, it's moving forward, and ults are climbing up. They're going to have both support ults, a tank ult, as well as sights. This is going to be very heavily favored in their direction.
On the side of the defense, the Tide Pods don't even have their Zen ult. Oh, never mind. They should have it right now. But they will not have their Valk for this coming fight.
Yep, now Mosquito Game is going to try and harass the Widow even more. But here comes a Shatter. It gets blocked immediately. A Bubble is going to keep Honor Caution alive, and now I1 is deep in enemy territory. That's not where you want to be as a big Reinhardt. Baguette gets charged through that, and here's both support ults. Maybe they weren't necessary to be used together, but they are absolutely going to push this forward, although Baguette is going to trance to keep the remaining members of his team alive. But now that it's out, this should be a roll towards the second checkpoint.
Yeah, he's trying his hardest, but it's not enough. He gets picked off, and then it's just Digi left. The entirety of the Tempest collapsing onto the Tide Pods, blowing them away.
Yeah, well, this isn't dive. They sure play it like that. One target's found, and the entire Death Ball runs them over. Oh, no charge on the Reinhardt, but Honor Caution is making space.
And the thing that let them get it this far was that blocked Earth Shatter, because that opened up so much for the Tempest.
Yeah, but here is the counterattack. Honor Caution down. He's 40 health. And it does look like the Tide Pods are actually...
defense.
Yeah, Tide Pods are going to hold this.
Yeah, we have Iwan holding line, and we have Jupiter counter-widowing very solidly.
A lot of that came down to how far pushed Honor Caution was. If he had been with the rest of his team, they would have had better luck pushing that payload, but he ended up getting picked off by Zarya, and ended up staggering himself by trying to block, but the healing never came in.
We see Pyrosanical switch to Sombra, and without a Brigitte on the enemy team, I really like this pick. You're going to get that barrier down. You're going to make Genji or Zarya useless.
Yep, but here's a Zarya grab. Here's a Blade. Unwanted was already taken down. Here's another grab, but the picks were already gotten for the Tempest. Tide Pods don't really have enough to capitalize on this, especially when you die shattering.
Maybe a little bit of an emergency grab right there, honestly.
Yeah, maybe they were switching, but Digi's still on Zarya, so I'm not sure that's the case.
No, I mean the Tide. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, I really think it might have just been a panic at that point. Like maybe Digi thought more of the enemy team, more of his team was alive, but that just was not the case when he tossed that grab.
Yep, but now they're still moving forward with a good amount of time. 3.5 minutes left. A poor hacked Genji is gonna come back, but still. They're going to have both support ults soon. Unwanted goes down, so does Baguette. This is where they can get super aggressive, especially when I1 got shattered as well. Or, not shattered,
huge
but
value
knocked down.
from Unwanted, getting rid of Jupiter main hit scan defense for the Tide Pods.
Yep, and now
right
they're
now it's
still
just
moving forward. It's a Sombra contesting, but that's not going to stick around for long.
But
they follow.
Oh!
Yeah, Syx did get taken down, but payload's right here. Jupiter does get rezzed. But Earth Shatter from Honor Caution could stop the rest from coming out, And it gets a couple people, somehow doesn't charge the Zarya, and Baguette does keep everyone alive. Meanwhile, Jupiter's getting a lot of high-value picks.
Right, look at this stuff from Jupiter. Honestly, it's kind of sad to say, but what might have lost the Tempest the fight there was Sayax going after Parasanical and dying, because without your Mercy to sustain you through that fight, it might have been a lost venture already.
Yeah, and then Jupiter just got so many high-value picks,
That too.
even down to a hacked Mosquito game, no Reflect available.
Alright, so on the side of the Tide Pods, we will have quite a few ults coming up. Most notably, we'll have EMP and we'll have Sights. So if you can hack that Reinhardt and any of the other ability-dependent heroes like Genji and Zarya on the enemy team, you could shut down any sort of team fight.
Yep. Now, as this next attack comes out, 2 minutes left, there's not really a lot of ultimates. They do have Mosquito Game and Grav soon, but not quite.
Oh!
And now an
That
EMP
was a
is going to slow
huge
things
charge
down.
right there.
Yeah, but now this is going to have to be another backup retreat. But also a Valk? This was not the time to Valk, nor the place.
No, I don't know why they dropped that.
Maybe
And
Sayax
Parasanical really providing some high value with the hacks and the EMP, shutting down that team fight.
Yeah, those were very good. And now they're the Tempest are going to be down a main support. They were switching to Ana, so maybe they just want the Nano for Mosquito.
It is going to be a while, though. Sayax will need to build up an entire ult.
Yeah, both sites are on. I definitely would have preferred to hold those ults coming in, but here we might see Storm Shield lay down a Grav and then a Blade from Mosquito Game, but he goes down! Jupiter using those sites well, but I1 charging in alone. But unfortunately we do have a Reinhardt that's hacked, but so many people, here's the Grav, but they don't have a Genji to combo. Storm Shield's going to try and do it himself, but there's not enough damage, and now that there's a Transcendence, everyone's going to stay extra alive. So
That was a very, very suspect grab from Storm Shield, I think.
yeah, this is just the issue we're seeing with Tempest, Toronto Tempest right now, is they have ults, but they're not using them correctly because too many people are dead.
Okay, maybe we saw it because we are going to get the switch to D.Va now, but I'm surprised that they wouldn't want to combo that with Genji beforehand.
Yeah, that's definitely what would have been optimal. Maybe they're switching just because they made the mistake, but now they don't
And it's
have...
It's worth mentioning that the Tide Pods currently have EMP, there you go, but also Grav and Valk. This is going to be a shutdown team fight right off the bat.
Yep, they definitely can't use anything now.
And
Poor
20
Sayax
seconds
cut
left on
out.
the clock.
Baguette's gonna kick Sayax back to the spawn room, and Mosquito Game has been sitting on this ult for a while because there hasn't been a good time to use it. He gets picked off, or the rest of his team is dead, but they don't really have time for that, especially now because there's only 5 seconds left. Can anyone even get there? He's gonna need to use the dash to get there. Okay, Storm Shield is on the payload. They do have that, but Valk is up. Honor Caution is gonna lay down a Shatter. Does get Rhine, but not really any picks, and an even bigger Shatter. Trance does run out now. Hacks Reinhardt, no barrier.
That was the huge sleep, too.
But Tempest, they're getting the picks.
They are.
This should have been
That
a fight in
ult
the
fight.
other direction. Somehow they're going ahead. Oh, but they forgot about the payload! Okay, they're back on the
They
payload.
remembered last second, no C9 tonight. And right now it's just Parasanical trying to fend off the entirety of the Tempest.
No ults on either side. Pyrosanical does go down. It's just Baguette and a couple more staggers. Jupiter is on the payload, gonna blink around and recall Hanjo next, but Hanjo goes down immediately, and it's just cleanup. This is a phase 3 take.
And the Tempest coming alive like a storm, getting that final round, getting that I don't even know how they did that. The ult fights went their way in that last fight, even when they had so little left. And even how they've had so much problem holding all their ults and using them at the wrong times, they coordinated that Blade and the Earth Shatter well enough to take that final point.
Yeah, everything was stacked against the Tempest, but they ended up making the comeback anyway, finishing out the map. They had a lot of time, and they ended up using it all in that third phase. But 3 points are 3 points.
Right, and even if you have used up all the time, this takes a load off of you, because now, even if the enemy team pushes it to the end, you want to prevent that from happening, obviously. But it's better than not having the full 3 points to work with.
Yep, and now that means that the Toronto Tide Pods are going to have to make it all the way to the end. It would have been an easier situation if they had stopped it under that bridge with the ults that they had invested, but now they're going to have to match that distance.
All right, right now we're seeing picks on the side of the Tide Pods. I'm seeing interesting dual barrier with Ryan and Orisa, and then you have dual sniper with Hanjo and Jupiter.
More importantly, Toronto Tempest are rolling out their defense, and Unwanted is actually on the Doomfist.
I actually really like this in the sense that if Unwanted is a quality Doomfist, because I did see some good picks from him back on Ilios. I feel like Doomfist played defensively is one of the best ways to play the hero, because if you go offensive with Doomfist and you don't have team support, you die.
Yeah,
but Doomfist has some great aerial denial with the punch and the knockback he gets, plus Meteor Strike. So if Unwanted can pull this off, I'll be very impressed.
And the Tempest are running a dive with Unwanted, which means that this definitely does help Doomfist the most.
Mm-hmm.
Now Pyrosantical is going to go under the bridge and try and poke some holes in the defense, but it is dive, which means that there's not really any slow targets for her to take down. Mosquito Game ended up getting 2 kills already. Jupiter goes down next. This is just a slaughter at the gates.
And Mosquito Game doing what every single Genji has to do and killing the supports right off the bat.
And not only that, but it helps when you say yo after each kill.
Yosh.
Oh, Mosquito Game accidentally spotted Pyrosantical by running into her, and now if she gets picked, that's going to be bad news for Tide Pods. She does end up getting away and to safety. But this payload just isn't making much progress here, as this dive is just so oppressive.
The Tide Pods are finally starting to get something going, but you have Winston and everyone playing from the high ground. This is where dive shines.
But Unwanted does go down, and now that Tide Pods are at a lead, especially with a hacked Genji, this could be their chance to make some headway. Now, I'm not sure why Digi is holding up a shield against a Winston who is electrocuting him through the shield, but in any case, he's still alive, so is the rest of his team. And Bookshelf taken down. This could be their chance to get through the choke point.
Big Blade. Oh, what a charge from Digi!
Big Blade, big charge. No, it's just some poor Diva stagger down here. Where's Diva going?
Looks like she's trying to run back to her spawn. Or the enemy spawn, my bad.
Oh, but she ended up getting a mech. Oh, and now she spotted a Mercy. Maybe Hanjo's gonna get bullied, but Honor Caution's gonna opt to run away. Not sure if I agree with that, but Honor Caution knows what to do. EMP is out on the point. This is gonna be another good chance for the Tide Pods to push through, especially with Didgery holding on to that Earth Shatter, but he gets sniped down. Another time where EMP came out, but Tide Pods lost the fight anyway. Earth Shatter does get 2 squishies, though. That's going to be big if he can capitalize. He gets 2. He is going to go down.
Was trying his best, but like being the sole member of your team against the entirety of the Tempest, not going to work out.
But he got a lot of those picks, and with the spawn advantage, he might be setting up Tide Pods for a good offense.
Right. The question is, how far are they going to be able to get? We do have Honor Caution still guarding the payload, and here come 3 more of the Tempest.
An Unwanted gets caught out from her hiding position.
And the Tempest defense, like you said, it's not really here. Diginecros and the rest are back on the payload.
Oh, Grav did get eaten. Very good job from the Diva. Barriers are out. Maybe Tempest can make something of this, especially with Jupiter going down. Oh, and a punch. Digi is gonna go down. And with a push back, this is gonna be another quick cleanup.
And I think right now, even though it seems like the Tide Pods are trying to do their best to play Deathfall, dive is working so well. Tempest just sticking to what they know and what they know well.
Only one good push left. Unwanted does go down. That is going to help them out. But there's a bunch of ults on both sides, especially a Diva Bomb. But Mosquito goes down to Jupiter as well. This should, by all means, be a cap.
It really should. Now that Honor Caution's also down, as is Sayax, it's all blue in this kill feed. I don't know if anyone can make it back. Winston might be close enough, but it might not be enough playing into the entirety of the Tide Pods.
It looks like Mosquito Game might be doing some stalling. Is it going to be worth it? Okay, Mosquito is on the point, but Storm Shield went down. And without the rest of the reinforcements, I'm not sure Tempest is going to be able to hold on to this any longer. They might need to just give this up and regroup.
Right. If anything, I think what they're trying to do is force the overtime, which they already have, but they are dying, dropping like flies. And it's just the Lucio, who's getting really badly staggered right now.
Yeah, and even if you force overtime, that doesn't really mean much at the first phase. And look at the ultimate advantage that's been given to Tide Pods, given the
Exactly.
rather overreaching offense or defense.
And having that EMP, that's honestly the scariest thing. Look at the Tempest team composition. Hacking any of those heroes, except maybe Unwanted, is going to ruin them. Winston without jump and shield, Genji without abilities.
Yeah, it's definitely
This EMP 's
devastating.
gonna-
Though the EMPs don't have a big history of doing much in the past.
That is true. It's really going to be up to the rest of the Tide Pods to capitalize on that whenever Pyrosanical drops it.
Now Baguette does go down. Unwanted went down earlier. Here comes the fight. EMP does shut down Coalescence. That's pretty big. And big Honor Caution doesn't have any jump, or Storm Shield can't jump, despite the fact that he had ulted because of that EMP. And this is, as you said, going to be a good cleanup thanks to the EMP this time.
Exactly. Using that to interrupt channel ults is honestly a good use for it, even if you don't get most of the team, because shutting down an entire Coalescence, that's a good trade right there.
Yep, and now Tempest are going to have to hold back a little bit, wait for their respawns, and then jump out at the last second.
Bookshelf is going to be very close to Sound Barrier, though, so he could help hold.
Oh, but Mosquito goes down early. Digi is low, but he's getting healed up. And it's still just picks after picks. Tide Pods are going to, still under a minute, make it nonetheless.
And Jupiter is going to take out Unwanted. That's the last of the defense right here. Syax just trying to get out, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it.
Oh, they're still stalling Mosquito Game. Close to ult, probably not going to use it, but he did get Baguette, so if he can get a couple more picks, no.
No.
Maybe
I
lofty
really
goals.
I really think that at the risk of giving the Tide Pods more ults, the Tempest are doing their best to stall out the point and get a time advantage.
That may
or
be
at
the
least
case.
bring them down to overtime so that we can go one minute.
Now, 2 minutes left. Not as much as the Tempest had going into this phase, but Tide Pods have rolled pretty quickly after that first phase mess.
We gotta watch out here. EMP will get rid of the Sound Barrier.
Oh, and then a Shatter, no shield. That's going to be a big combo. Digi's been having a field day this map.
And it's all been thanks to his enablers, too. Look at how good this team play is from the Tide Pods. Really good ult synchronization.
Yeah, but now these two from the Tempest need to back up. But Pyrosanical's not going to let that happen. That's a hacked Mosquito. He is going to live, but he won't be at full health. And they know that he has Dragon Blade.
And if you're the Tempest right now, you're kind of sweating. You need to hold them off for at least a minute.
Well, Pyrosanical goes
Ideally,
down.
stop them.
Baguette's going to be next, right after this bubble. Oh, but it takes way too long. He does get the picks, and the Tide Pods do have to retreat. So I guess that was as good value as you could hope for from a Blade.
It is. It's kind of hard to play the Blade with that Zarya around, though. And we are going to see Bookshelf go to the Brigitte, maybe hoping for a stalwart stop right here with the Reinhardt and the Diva.
Yeah, they're going to be opting for anti-dive, or more of a death ball.
Death
from
ball
both
with
sides.
a Tracer. I don't know. It's a composition. It's here. It's on the field.
It sure is. Unwanted maybe on Tracer for the preemptive stall, but now they need to watch out for Pyrosanical's EMP. It's only 5% away. This could be all they need to finish off this cap.
Watch out for this. Here it comes.
Earthstar does
Oh,
get
no.
blocked, but here comes an EMP. Does hack a bunch of people, but didn't translocate first, so it didn't get everyone possible. But there's still no ults on the side of the Tempest. Tide Pods are slowly but surely closing this out, and now it's just
And
going to
they
be
should-
some staggers and stalls.
They should get this point. Oh, and there goes that. Oh, that was a brutal Earth Strike. Right
Yeah,
there.
there was no coalescence allowed. Both Reinhardt and Stormshield gets the bad end of that deal. And now it's the same situation where this is probably just going to be cleanup. The spawns aren't going to come in fast enough. This crowd's going to
Yep.
more than finish this off.
And that's it. But there is one good thing that came out of that. Look how much time that took. Both teams going to overtime. The Tempest doing their job and getting that little bit of extra stall to keep themselves in the game. Because I believe if they had had more time than overtime, best they could have done with a draw.
Yep, so now we've got a minute and a minute. How far do you think both teams will make it?
I really think that if the Tempest rethink their dive, they could push it all the way. Like, there is something that happens on these payload maps when you don't have time, where you should be stopped after the first point or so. But if you get enough momentum, you can push it the whole way. I don't know. I'm just speaking from personal experience.
Yeah.
But.
Here is what we saw so far, though. Tadpoles, they got stuck on the first phase. They ended up getting to the end, and it was a pretty smooth ride after the first phase, but this is what stumped them for so long. Meanwhile, the Tempest rolled through phase 1 and 2, and then got stuck at the third phase. So if things continue like that, Tempest is gonna be way ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. So I think if Tempest, you're right, if they get a good enough roll off the bat and they keep the momentum, they could go as far as second, if not all the way.
Now, we are going to see a much more meta comp coming in from the Tadpoles. They have the triple healer with Brigitte, but Jupiter on Widow instead of Hanzo. Oh, and Sayax boops Reinhardt down. Digi's going to get eaten up.
Interesting to note, we've seen Unwanted and Sayax switch roles. Unwanted taking the Ana healing role, Unwanted and Bookshelf. Unwanted taking a healing role and Bookshelf going on to DPS right now.
Yep. Now this dive did not work out at all. Only 30 seconds left. Mosquito got killed a little bit late. And while the boop onto Digi was so good, they actually didn't kill him in time. Oh, and Stormship goes down late. This is not good for the Tempest.
It is not at all. I was expecting a much further push with how they've been doing. Like you said.
They have a chance, but they need to get on that payload and stop it without Honor Caution, without Unwanted. This is looking nigh impossible.
And we're already in overtime. And if you're the Tempest, you have to surmount an impossible goal. You have to kill the entirety of... Oh, that's not even going to be it. That's going to be it. You're not going to get anywhere near close to that.
Yep, that's going to be a very early stop, and it's going to be quite difficult.
Exactly what we didn't figure into our predictions, and that was Jupiter. Did you see how many picks Jupiter got in that early stage to force those respawns? And to run the clock out.
Yeah, you're gonna have the Tempest are gonna have to hold so close to the spawn doors. They can't let this truck move basically at all.
If you're the Tempest, what do you do?
Because my first thought is run dive from the rooftops, jump down, get the picks, jump back up. But it's so close to the doors that that's not really an option because they can shoot you from the not from the invincibility, but a pretty safe spot. Maybe Death Ball is the right move here to try and hunker down around the corner and stop the payload there.
And we've even seen Mosquito Game, the Prime DPS, kind of confused. We saw the picks to McCree, to Bastion, to Junkrat. It is really going to be a tough situation. You have to decide what's actually going to work here.
So they are going to run mixed Death Ball. Unwanted is going to be continuing the sniper duel. Jupiter now on the Hanzo. So we'll see how that sniper duel evolves with this change. Mosquito Game is going to be on that high damage Junkrat. But they are a little low on healing, with Mercy being the only real healer.
Right, and if that Mercy gets picked, which I would not put it past Jupiter to do, that might be the end of the game right there.
Mosquito Game is playing a dangerous game. We'll see what he does with this positioning. Is he just going to pop up and try and get some picks? There's a lot of prime targets. But Honor Caution goes down. That's really bad news.
And where he got taken down, there's no way Mercy can get to res that safely.
Yep, and with Bookshelf going down next, at least Pyrosanical got taken down, but it's still not an even fight. Mosquito Game is going to actually be holding this, and a trap onto Hanjo. That's going to be a kill. Maybe Tempest has a little bit more time on their hands. Mosquito needs to live, though. He has Tire, but he goes down, and so does Sayax.
Ryan trying to get a charge in last second, manages to get it before the payload moves to the end.
But it's not going to be enough time, as Bookshelf will get close, but still that's probably not going to be enough to live. Pyrosanical is going to finish her off, and that's going to tie up the game.
And it was just a prolonged endeavor at that point. Delaying the inevitable. Look how little they had to move.
Mosquito Game is going to get play of the game, but still, what a reversal. Not only from the previous map, but also the first rounds of this map.
I know. You've got to wonder, it looks like it's really comes down to map type with these two teams, because they have very equal skill levels, is what I'm going to say at this point. You have players from both sides making high-value picks, and I think right now, the reason the Tadpoles won that last fight is because their teamwork and their ult usage was much more coordinated.
Yeah, the dive from the Tempest was so good, but I think they were worried that they weren't going to be able to run that any more than they did, especially given
Hmm.
how close the payload was. They didn't want to be butting up against the doors, but I think some really risky moves like charging into their spawn was not the option to take.
Also had some questionable usage with a couple of Valks and a couple grabs. So
Yeah, but like you said, Tempest and Tide Pods are both very evenly matched. These are some very intense games. I didn't expect first of all, Tide Pods to match and then excel what Tempest achieved, given how quickly Tempest rolled through the first two phases.
yeah, it is worth mentioning though. Um, that control point and payload are a couple very different playstyles, so that may just be playing to the strength of each individual team.
Yeah, we do see
We saw the
Tempest
Tide Pods.
at their best at dive, which is why King of the Hill was their map, but they weren't able to play that here, so maybe that is why Tide Pods use the map to their advantage.
So we should be going to 2 CP next, right? Either that or hybrid.
Yeah, I believe it is 2 CP.
So I think I would favor the Tempest in this next game. Um, no, I don't know actually. It depends on the map.
Yeah, it
And
definitely does. There's a lot of different kinds of maps, especially if we end up somewhere like Horizon Lunar Colony.
oh yeah, if we end up on a Horizon just for how well Jupiter's been doing, I'd almost give it to the Tide Pods
Yeah,
because that is
Jupiter.
the prime sniper map right there.
Yeah, Jupiter is absolutely excelling at Widowmaker, just doing so well. Even in these, especially in these duels against Unwanted, the duels are going back and forth, but I think Jupiter has won more so than Unwanted. Hey, Overwatch League, give me the ability to have those stats, please.
Yeah, that would be very nice. I love how they do their whole command center stuff, and I would not even mind paying a subscription to get those tools in game.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially a replay system. I would love that. I've seen how the replay system UI is, and I love it.
Oh please, like it'd be so easy, like from a commentator standpoint, when there's not much going on in the game, to talk about a big play. I would love to do that, but instead I just have to fumble around and say it while other stuff is
Yeah.
going on.
So maybe eventually we'll get those tools. Meanwhile, we are going to continue this play as we move into a 2CP between the Tide Pods and the Tempest. Does look like we are figuring out the map. Uh, Someone said Junkertown, so that's probably not true. We just did a payload.
Yeah, we can't do it again.
Yeah, but while they figure that out, we are going to take a very minute break. And we are back as we go into Volskaya, the 2CP map of this series. This is definitely going to be a more Deathball centered map, although Dive is something you can run. both offensively and defensively, based on how much each teams are utilizing the high ground. At least on the first point. I think second point you definitely want to be running Deathball, at least in this current meta.
Yeah, I feel like Volsky is one of the most even maps in the game, in a way that you can run several comps on it and have them work out.
Yeah, definitely agree. Probably don't want to be attacking with Orisa Hog, but otherwise, you can run pretty much any kind of composition. And we will be heading into this game very soon. You heard that sound? You know it's coming.
You know what time it is.
It's 8:01. It's
7
slow
p.m.
evening. Now, as we wait for everyone to load in, we've got a Symmetra on both teams.
Oh, we've got the classic Tor Bastion Sim combo. This is like the bane of so many solo queuers' existences. This was actually the meta in Season 1. Little known fact.
Yeah.
Because no one knew what this game was. Actually, Season 1 meta was, I believe, 5 Torbjorns and a Reinhardt.
Well, if you remember, Symmetra Torb actually kind of was viable during Triple Tank.
Yeah, I did see. I mean, like, when you get into solo queuing and even just like ranked ladder play, Torbjorn and Sim can work. Should I ever see them in a match? I hope not, but they can work.
Yeah, during Triple Tank, it was particularly on Volskaya an option where you would have that damage that would hit the slow targets, and then the turrets would slow them even more. You don't have a character like Winston to destroy them super quickly. So it used to be a somewhat viable option, though it's been a while since then.
There was a bit of fear. Right around when Brigitte came out, that one of the metas would be Brigitte, Sim, and Torbjorn for stacking armor and shields, which I think still works, but I feel like they've made some changes to armor in order to prevent that from happening. Because you remember the Symmetra madness when the shield generator first came out. You remember, what was it, 900 health tracer or something like that?
Yeah, that was a mess. A little known fact, shield generators, they stack.
Yeah, there was a week where no one could play No Limits because it was all Symmetras.
Now, here comes the defense. It is going to be a death ball from the Tadpoles with Jupiter on the Hanzo. This is actually the meta composition right now. And it's interesting that it's been this long until we've seen it, but 2CP is probably the best place to do that. On the opposing side, the Tempest are going to be running the same comp, but unwanted on the Widowmaker. So this is interesting, because Tadpoles are running the meta composition, and it's meta for a reason. Dragon Strike is the thing that eats away Brigitte armor during a Graviton, and he's got the Stormbow. So hopefully Unwanted can get the picks, otherwise this isn't really going to work out. And speaking of Stormbow, Honor Caution's already down.
Yeah, it's not really a matter of trust as far as Unwanted Widows go. Unwanted's Widow goes. It's more of the fact that even when a Rhine shield's up, if you play a Hanzo, you can barrier bust if you sink a Storm Arrow into it. With Widow, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, she only does 300 damage. I mean, I say only, but still. Well, you know, that's enough to take down a Zenyatta. This is going to be a Tempest pushing forward. And here they come around. Baguette did get rezzed, and now Charge is going back and forth. Honor Caution is going to fall. Jupiter's going to get 2 picks, including Honor Caution. Baguette's going to go down again, but Tadpoles is going to clean this up.
And here's the big thing with new Hanzo. Stormbow makes Hanzo into one of the best mid-range heroes in the game. So if Jupiter feels that he needs a little less space, or he doesn't have as much to work with, he's getting all of these high-value picks because he's playing Hanzo like a hit scan, which works because of how fast the arrows go in those close ranges.
Now, Unwanted is going to jump off, possibly to reset, or maybe they were trying to grapple back. In any case, a Tempest is going to set back up here. Bookshelf is now on Junkrat to try and damage down these barriers. That is going to charge up I1. So maybe that's not exactly what they need.
Definitely not.
we see some more role changes as Mosquito is on the Zen and Bookshelf is on the DPS. Maybe they're switching out just to see what works. Mosquito does have Trance now, so this could be their way in onto this point.
I don't know how I feel about the entirety of the Tempest switching up their comp, though. Because they were playing the meta. It's really a matter of how you play it, as opposed to not who you're playing.
Yep. But we'll see how this works out, especially with Digi half health and bumped up. He is going to get healed back up, but Tempest need to break down onto this point at some point. But a Tire is going to start this, especially with Jupiter being down. This could be the chance. Tire's going to go in, and it's going to fight two people with shields, but neither of them were up in time. And now Jupiter's going to get bullied.
You can say the point is lost. Do they know that she's back there? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, this is going to be a Tempest take. I1 going to be staggered a little bit. That's going to be good for the Tempest. Oh, I1. I'm surprised they actually killed her.
Baguette loses. I mean, Baguette wins the Zen 1v1, though, so at the very least, a little bit of pride and a huge stagger on Zen, because he's going to respawn. Oh,
well, he's going to get rezzed, and poor Baguette is actually stuck out here. He's going to get shielded back, but this is not a good position for a defending Zenyatta to be as the offense pushes in. Here comes a grab. Baguette is forced to trance, but there's still so much damage that Shoals dies anyway. Here comes an Earth Shatter. It didn't get much, but Dual Core does go down, and now here's a return. But Trance is going to keep everyone alive despite the dragons. The damage was not high enough for that. Bookshelf did die, but does have a Tire out, and he's going to get rest.
The Dragon Strike did eat away all the armor, even though they kept the rest of the team alive. So, it still was some high value, and it's still letting them get in on the Tempest. I mean, the Tide Pods.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, Jupiter's did help with the armor, but it's still not going to be enough. Oh, and the biggest shatter in the world, but Digi wasn't on the point because of a trap.
Oh, you gotta feel bad about that one.
That is just unfortunate. So that was a pretty quick take from the Tempest. They have over 4 minutes left. Oof, 1 second away from a really good time. Unfortunate, unlucky. But in any case, this is going to be pretty difficult to match.
Yeah, indeed. Leading the wonder. Is Bookshelf going to stay on that May, first of all?
It's possible,
but
as
yeah.
May does kind of counter the current Deathball meta.
And I was worried about the Tempest initially, because they kept changing up their comps, while the Tide Pods looked like they were doing a really good job of holding.
But it ended up working out in the end. Sometimes it is just down to what you're best at.
Exactly.
Although the meta does help, it can only help you so far. And it does seem that Bookshelf is going to stay on the May. The Ice Wall is very good at splitting up Deathball compositions. That's something we saw a lot during the triple tank meta. So maybe that's what we'll see here. What's especially good is an Ice Wall in front of, or separating a Reinhardt from his team so that your Reinhardt can charge him. So that's probably going to be the game plan. They're lower on damage than they would be, but they are going to be running both healers, or both DPS, only 2 healers. And Bookshelf is going to be reported for toxic behavior, setting up walls in front of his team.
You saw it right here. Please go onto your own personal account and report him.
We'll see how the current meta composition takes on the Tempest's little oddball approach. I do like where they're holding. They are back in the big health pack room. They don't have a Sombra, though. They're not going to be using that health pack in that way, but they are set up back there next to the point. But unwanted spotted. Jupiter's not going to take that fight yet. And it looks like they're going to be approaching this high ground.
But they get walled off by May, and they're getting funneled there.
Yeah, this would have been a really good time to have a Junkrat, but Unwanted is doing a lot of damage on his own 65% ults. And this positioning isn't really helping them much. They have...
Bookshelf using... Bookshelf used that Ice Wall to force them to go through the small health pack room.
Oh, and here's the Reinhardt. He's sectioned off, and there's the charge, but Digi got a charge of his own, but still this positioning is going to punish him much more than Honor Caution. And now, thanks to the great rotation, the Tempest gave the Tide Pods enough room to come in so that Tempest could go in and retake it. 100 Caution, though, is struggling, but a nice spot heal. Mercy healing is going to keep him alive. And Bookshelf is going off. That's not really what you expect from a Mei, but that is a lot of damage.
Good thing, too. And I think what I mentioned earlier is that when the Mei walled the first time, she prevented the entire team from going onto the high ground, so they had to take the stairs down. And they prepared for that, and they had to charge onto that wall by walling off the Rhine. So just some really good sectioning off of the enemy team from Bookshelf.
Yeah,
I really like this Mei.
The strategies, the positioning, they're all really good. But now it's time for these Tide Pods to adapt to this. They probably don't want to take the high ground on the right. But the problem with this Death Ball is that they have to pick one position, which leaves Tempest so much time to rotate around the point and fight from the other side. Especially with Unwanted being able to grapple wherever she wants.
And without with limited mobility, they don't have the opportunity of going behind the point either, so that gets rid of one of their routes.
Yep, and now onto the point, Armor and Mei ult. Dragons, what ult isn't happening right now, but no one died at all. Trance is going to keep everyone up.
Classic Overwatch team fight. Drop all your ults, no one dies.
Yep. But kills are going back and forth. It does look like the Tide Pods are ending up ahead. Sykes is being walloped back and forth. Earthshatter is on to clean this up if necessary, but it doesn't look like it will be.
Unwanted was getting a bunch of good picks, but right now I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, and a late grab. What is Storm Shield doing? Oh, never mind. Storm Shield knows exactly what they're doing because Unwanted got a couple picks off of that. Now, unfortunately,
it's just Necros on the point.
Yeah, it is, but here come the reinforcements. Honor Caution's going to come in and actually Unwanted beat Digi.
They're going to hold that. That was the highest IQ grab I think I've seen this century.
Yeah, the best ults are when they look dumb, but they end up working in the end. And it looks like Honor Caution and the rest of the Tempest have arrived to make space on this point, especially with Bookshelf being rezzed and only 44 seconds left on the clock. This could be a full hold to point A.
And that's that grab from Storm Shield. I really don't like that because what happened is that I think it was a panic.
But boy, did it work out.
But it did work out. Oh, no, sorry, not Storm Shield.
I1. I1 had a
Sorry.
little bit of a panic grab.
Yeah, and that grab, I think he was trying to clean up the point on the hope that his rest of his team was there, but they weren't.
Now here comes this fight. Valk is out, but there's so many ults to each team's. An Earthshatter could finish this, but they need to get on the point, and Tempest is really cleaning up despite Valk being out. Earthshatter's gonna knock down
it's only gonna get
Student
one,
and Master.
The Mei walls have been on point. Bookshelf defending so many of his teammates.
Yeah, defending his own, walling off the others, forcing the Tide Pods to take one direction over the other. This is going to be a hold of point A.
And I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it. I'm pretty sure the Mei was what sealed that game for them. I'm pretty sure that entire Mei play was so good.
Yeah, there's...
Yeah.
might not get play of the game. Bookshelf does get on Junkrat, but like I was saying, Mei might not get play of the games, but really she is what made that game.
You basically change the map topography to how you want to play it. Although that was a really high value take right there for the Tempest.
Yeah, Tempest really rolled that map. They had over 4 minutes left on their attack and full held point A, and poor Digi with 3 out of 4 gold medals. It means that the DPS maybe isn't really up to snuff right now. Even though Hanzo is the better pick in the meta, it really didn't accomplish much, possibly because the grabs were a bit off.
Although Digi Necros was very aggressive as his Ryan play, so it may not solely be for that, but still, you do have a point.
Yep, so the score does go 1-2 on the Tempest. 1 second while I fix these icons. That's embarrassing. In any case, yeah, the Toronto Tempest are up a game and only need one more to finish off this series. Or
how do you feel? How well do you think they'll do that? Because so far, the only map type that they have lost has been that 2CP. I'm not 2CP, the King of the Hill.
Yeah, I think it depends on what we're going to next, which is going to be the hybrid. So we saw Tempest win King of the Hill, but they lost Payload, but then they won 2CP. So it does look like if they're able to holds the capture point of Hybrid well enough, Tempest should be able to hold on to their lead. Otherwise, if Tide uses the payload portion to their advantage and gets past that capture point, they'll be looking to take the game. So I think this one comes down to how well Tempest defends the 2 CP portion.
And even in losing that payload segment, it's worth noting that the Tempest and the Tide Pod were so close in their first push. It's just the second push where things fell apart. And that may have just been some comp issues. That may have just been some strategy issues when when the time is running out of the clock. So you really need to wonder, even if it does go to payload versus payload, do you think the Tempest could still hold out?
I mean, I think they could. I think the reason that they lost the Dorado was due to some poor positions on the second rounds, because both teams finished the whole map in overtime, and then it came down to the 1 minute each. If that is the situation here, Tempest is looking to be in a much better spot because the second round is mostly focused on the capture point.
Now, one thing I do want to mention, as far as this map goes, even in a dive heavy meta, this was the map, which I believe we're going to King's Row, yes?
Yes.
This was the map to run Death Ball on.
Absolutely. This is a Death Ball tank-heavy map. If not Death Ball, you would be running Quad Tank. That's fallen a little bit out of the meta, but still, this is a very good place for Ryan and Zarya nonetheless.
Now entering King's Row.
So the wonder is, with how well that the Tide Buds have been doing, with how well the Tempest has been doing dive as opposed to their Death Ball comps, you have to wonder if it's going to hurt them a bit if they want to run dive here.
Yeah, we've seen that Tempest is better at capture points, but worse at Death Ball. They're good at dive, but they're not really good when it comes down to Ryan Zarya versus Ryan Zarya, at least compared to the Tide Pods. So we'll see how this matchup shakes out. Pyrosanical is back in for the Tide Pods. It does look like we have a little bit of a map switch up, as the Toronto Tempest are going to be defending first.
Interesting.
And they are going to be running this Death Ball composition with, I would say, probably, if you're going to run 2 healers, the best 2 healers to run right now. Moira has that huge amount of healing capability, and Brigitte is Brigitte. She's just good right now.
Although, how are they going to fare without a res? That's the question you have to ask.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully by not dying.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
in the words of Mango, don't get hit.
Yeah, just don't get hit. Now, Unwanted is going to be on that long-range damage, Mosquito Game on the close-range damage, as we've seen before. Meanwhile, we're going to see a pretty similar composition from the Tide Pods, where Jupiter's going to be on that long-range damage as the Widow, Shoals on the Junkrat, and the rest is going to be a Death Ball comp with Brigitte.
I kind of really do like Unwanted playing Soldier here.
It's definitely a very good option. He does have that burst damage and long-range damage, and the ult's very good, but here comes the fight onto the point. Charge does come in and sends Honor Caution way back. He's low on health. He actually gets taken down, but so does Shoals. So it comes down to who gets the next big pick. Jupiter is in the back, uncontested, trying to get these snipes, but isn't given the position by Unwanted.
Unwanted with some really good evasion, the best he can do.
And now with
Not getting picked. Oh.
Yeah, now with Pyrosanical down, this is going to hopefully even out for the side of the Tempest. Honor Caution getting a kill into I1 is definitely going to secure that, but Mosquito Game does go down. Oh, so does Bookshelf, so this is actually nowhere near being balanced out.
No, it's not winnable right now, but with the spawn advantage...
Yeah, they can definitely push this, especially with the ults that they've got. If you look at the ult economy, Jupiter just used Sights, and they still have Valkyrie and Earth Shatter against a bunch of ults that are going to come up for Tempest, but aren't up yet.
Right. They are gonna probably come up before the fight starts, though, especially with how high charge Zarya is.
Oh, but that's a
with
big
the-
shatter! Reinhardt was not there to stop it. Honor Caution, off doing his own thing, is going to give Tadpoles the huge advantage of getting that quintuple shatter. That was more than enough.
And that's exactly what they needed. What a pick from, I guess that was Parasanical in there, but I thought Jupiter got the hit. Regardless, just a solid take right there at the end.
Yeah, and while it was a good play from the Tadpoles, I would say it was more of a mistake from the Tempest, especially Honor Caution's positioning.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Now, Tempest is going to hold back around this bookstore as they wait. They have a ton of ults now. One good thing about getting wiped is you don't end up wasting your ults because you won't be able to use them. So this is a good time for them to come back, except Mosquito, way too deep in, is going to be taken down, and that means Tempest has to back up even further. And this is exactly what you were saying. Tempest, not as good at payload, not as good at deathball.
And being forced to play both at the same time, it might spell disaster for them.
Yeah, now I1 does go down, but still, this is just such heavily favored for the Tadpoles. They're winning this fight while still pushing the payload, and the spawn is just so far for the Tempest. Unwanted does have Visor, but all of his damage is going to be halved by this armor, and Widow can see him, so this is an incredibly dangerous situation, especially getting chased down by Pyrosanical. Now Tadpoles, they have it only meters away. Armor is up on both sides, but here comes a tire. What's it gonna get? It's gonna get fire struck by Honor Caution. And now he's looking for a shatter. Gets blocked, but he is gonna charge into Ryan. And there's a big grab, but where's the follow-up? There's the follow-up.
There's the follow-up. A little bit delayed, but they're finally gonna hold that point there, but at the final choke of this King's Row push.
If they are going to get it in the end, though. And now the Tadpoles do have to finally respawn and regroup, but such good progress. Not a lot of ults on either side right now. Unwanted does have that Visor. Mosquito does have the Blade. So, actually, now that I've said that, a lot of more ults have come up. It's, again, Earth Shatter and but Visor is going to get Jupiter. He is going to get taken down due to this pretty ballsy positioning.
Yeah.
Jupiter's going to get res back up. Not sure it was worth it.
No, kind of a questionable ult right there from Unwanted, which this has been kind of the theme for a lot of the Tempest this night.
Okay, Earthshatter did get blocked, but
Oh
man,
my god.
The grab was definitely enough.
And what a victory spin from Digi right there. You can take that at this point. They're going to get this second point take.
Yep, didn't need that Earthshatter, but didn't need that Earthshatter. Now Unwanted, now onto the Widow, gonna try and get this Widow duel. Sees the damage boost and is gonna try and get this snipe, but the positioning is very good from Jupiter right now.
And it's almost looking like an impossible hold right now
Oof.
for the Tempest, especially with all these picks.
Yep,
Dropping
Mosquito
the route,
does
I
get
don't-
one, but gets killed by Shoals post-death. Jupiter does have sights, but still, this is just not looking good for the Tempest. They're just getting batted around. The armor does keep them alive for a little bit longer. But Honor Caution goes down. That's no shield. They're just going to continue moving forward, especially thanks to this Valkyrie.
So right now, the Tempest have a high charge Zarya, and they have two of their team alive.
It's
But
not
the worry
looking
is
great.
that, look at this momentum that's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, Tempest needs to do something, and fast, and at ult disadvantage. Shoals has his ult. Bookshelf got knocked off. Here comes the tire. It's going to get this Reinhardt, and this is going to be a pretty quick cleanup. Earthshatter didn't get much, but again, Digi's Earthshatters this map are celebratory more than anything else.
And I gotta say, as soon as the point was taken, it was almost uncontested going to the end. You had one stop at that final choke after point 2, or before checkpoint 2. But the entirety of phase 3, which usually phase 3 is where we see stops, there was nothing.
Yeah, it was definitely not as strong of a first point defense as we would have expected from Tempest, and no defense at all in the Streets phase. People just kept getting picked off. The grabs were really good from Tadpoles, and the follow-up wasn't quite there from the Tempest past that one Graviton. So it is gonna be fairly difficult, but not impossible, to try and match that time, or at least get above overtime.
Right.
Science will reveal the truth.
But with how well... Oh, and Bookshelf back on the main. With how well the Tadpoles have been playing... Sorry, with how well the Tadpoles have been playing their Death Ball comps, I really think that they stand a solid chance of winning this map.
Yep, and now Tadpoles Jupiter is back onto the Widowmaker. Definitely seems to be more comfortable than Hanzo. Their Hanzo was okay, but their Widow is definitely their strong suit. And now they're going to be setting up this Death Ball, giving a lot of space for Jupiter. And with the triple healers, 2 tanks, this is really what you want to run if you want to outlast the enemy team on the point.
Mosquito game going Torb. Classic.
Definitely what we can expect. Now he's trying to put his turret on the board. But nope, back to Torbjorn's daughter.
Best thing Torbjorn ever made.
Oof.
Better than a level 3 turret.
Now here comes the rollout from the Tempest. Honor Caution leading the way. Very odd composition. They do have the Mei, like you said, and that's their only DPS, so they must be looking to use this wall. Okay, there's the defense. It's very sneaky, but the wall does help Honor Caution get a charge, but it doesn't get a kill on Zarya because I1 has 400 health. Mosquito game goes down, gets brought back up, but Syax goes down in turn. And this is not what Tempest wanted, thanks to a really sneaky defense from Tadpoles.
Yeah, I think that can almost be a bit of a panic factor. You go to the point, it's completely empty, and then the entire enemy team just jumps down on you.
Yeah, it was very smart. It's as if they're running dive with a Death Ball comp.
Which I guess you can do on this map, depending on how well you play it.
Yeah, the verticality is pretty good if you're on defense and have the time to set up. But here comes the second offense. Does look like the Tempest are going to be going up onto this high ground, maybe to try and jump up and over, but they don't have a Lucio to speed boost them, so I'm not quite sure what this was for. Oh, they do have the Mei wall.
Oh.
So they actually are going to do that. They are going to go right up and over.
And that's a very, very brave strat right there. Oh, and they're going to all collapse onto Jupiter's
Except Honor
Widow.
Caution, who's got an Earth Shatter from behind, does get a bunch. What a sneaky strat. This is such an interesting fight from both sides, but Earth Shatter is going to come out onto Honor Caution. Unwanted is going to keep him alive, but it's a little bit late as a bunch of picks have already been gotten. But Storm Shield's back up. Pyro Tentacle goes down. This could be their return. Honor Caution and Digi charge each other again. They need to get a couple more picks. Baguette does go down. Jupiter does
Honor
have ult, but
Caution.
it's too late.
Destroying the enemy team, and that is going to be a take for the Tempest.
Yeah, that was answering a cheeky strat with a different cheeky strat. Honor Caution staying behind to get the Earth Shatter was such a huge move, and he's got another Shatter already.
It was such a smart Mei wall, too.
Yeah, definitely Bookshelf seems to be the Mei expert, possibly one of those terrible Mei mains that you run into at comp, but they seem to absolutely know what they're doing, using their walls to not only separate the team, but also give their team a positional advantage. And speaking about
Exactly.
advantage, look at the ult advantage.
Yeah. The only ult that the Tempest are close to.
Now, Earth Shatter
Oh.
during Mayfreeze, not quite what you want to do, as it doesn't really have much of an effect, but it is going to put them in the lead as I1 does go down, but Valk is out. That could be a res. Pretty dangerous, though, but it's actually going to happen. Shoals is going to get that res. Unwanted does get Digi, but here comes the Valk, and Shoals has the gun. If you don't know the matchup, use the gun. But here comes Trance to keep everyone from the Tempest alive as the Tadpoles need to back up. And poor Baguette trapped out in the open as Storm Shield is just so high energy.
Yeah, a lot of investment there from both sides, but the Tempest seem to be the victors here. Look at all these picks coming in from Storm Shield.
Yep, and oh no, poor Mercy. Shoals does barely escape, but the payload
Brigitte
is
and Mei-
almost here.
Brigitte and Mei absolutely bullying I1 back there.
Yeah, that's going to be a late stagger. That's not going to be an ult they have. But they do have sights up, and they do have an Earth Shatter. But Digi's not going to have a chance to use it at all as Honor Caution goes in, possibly sacrificing himself. Oh, and bumps Baguette into the pit, and an Earth Shatter on top of that. Honor Caution's going off.
And that is crazy. Somehow, the Tempest have had a faster push than the Tide Pods.
But this is the third phase, where the defense typically ramps up, so they might not be able to keep it up.
I don't know about that. With that rally coming out too.
Yep, Syax
Oh,
is
big
down,
pick for Syax.
but they do have Blizzard. Should they push this? I'm not sure. Honor Caution's shield
It looks
is
like-
almost down.
It really looks like they're not planning on stopping anytime soon.
But that might not be up to them. Digi survives that charge. He does have Earth Shatter. And that's going to be a bunch of picks onto Tempest. And that is going to force a reset.
Yep, the momentum was lost. You could not keep pushing. And the picks just came in one after the other.
Mosquito switching from the Brigitte to Moira. More healing? I don't know why they're running two primary healers. I guess they want that much healing as opposed to Brigitte. But in any case, they still do have the Mei ult. They're going to have two support ults up and a grab fairly soon. Apparently they're going to use Trance now. I'm not sure what that's about, but both Trances are out. Mei ult is out. Baguette is going to keep most of them alive. And Jupiter's just going to get pick after pick right now. Here's a grab, and that's going to be shooting fish in a barrel.
And that's the thing. Like, for some reason, the Tempest have been super offensive, even with their support ults. But even as offensive as they've been, no one is contesting Jupiter at all.
Yeah, it's interesting that they switched up compositions, but nothing to stop Jupiter. They don't have... I mean, now Bookshelf is on the counter Widow, but Bookshelf was doing pretty well before. Now, I1 is going to go down. Maybe that's going to give them the chance they need, but sights up for Jupiter whenever necessary. This
And
still
keep
could
an
be a
eye on
Typod's
this.
win, but this is a pretty big grab. Unfortunately, there was no one to finish it off as Jupiter took Honor Caution down.
Keep an eye on this timer. We're about to hit equal time. And that is actually a very bad thing for the Tempest. They needed more time than the Tide Pods to stay competitive.
Yeah, well, it's not over yet, but they do need to do it in over a minute in order to secure themselves an extra round. Now, Jupiter still just completely uncontested. A couple ults up for the Tempest, but they need to make something happen now that will carry them through the next phases.
This could be something, but there's no one hit with this Moira ult.
Now, Pyrocynical does go down. Jupiter, very low, does get healed up. Trance on the point again. Trance is never being used for the grab, though, so I'm really worried about how Unwanted is using it.
Storm Shield isn't anywhere close, but this means that it's very likely that I1 isn't close, but it's very likely that Unwanted won't have it for the grab when it comes out.
And that was a solid Earth Shatter, but Trance does come out. Honor Caution gets punished for the charge. Payload is moving forward, but it will not be completed right now.
And we're 10 seconds shy of being under a minute left for the Tempest.
And when it's under a minute, that's going to be adding time to the Tide Bank of the Tide Pods if Tempest is able to finish. I'm not sure they will be able to, given the ultimate economy right now. Tide Pods have a lot of legs up. They've got...
And remember how you mentioned you didn't enjoy the whole Zen thing. Zen has switched to Lucio since, but he's still not going to have that sound barrier for the grab that is rapidly approaching for I1.
And they're not going to have any ults at all right now. Meanwhile, Schultz's tire is out. Jupiter does go down to Unwanted, but both grabs are going to come out, and a bunch of tires. It's going to get a lot of picks. Maybe this is what a Tempest will need to try and push back in, but the spawn advantage is so heavily in favor of the Tide Pods.
Not that, but it's only the supports on the point.
Yep, it's poor Mosquito Game, who got too close to Brigitte and probably won't live much longer. He's going to get away, but only 10 seconds left. Now, Jupiter did go down again, and so did Pyrocynical. Is this going to be enough to close this game out? Baguette went down as well. A big grab, but still, again, there's no one to do anything about it. But Bookshelf's mines ended up killing Shoals. A big shatter. This actually might happen. It's getting there.
I think it is going to happen. Wow.
They made it.
They had to do it in the last second, and they did. And what won that fight for them was those 3 picks from Unwanted.
That was just absolutely insane. Not only winning the fight against Jupiter multiple times, but getting both supports and setting up the team. Usually it's the tanks making space, but Unwanted really came through. Now, this is a pretty scary situation for the Tempest, though. They have 2 minutes to stop the Tadpoles from getting a tick of the first point. Otherwise, they lose the map outright.
And I'm pretty sure the best that can happen right now is a draw.
Yep.
Which means I believe that we're going to play this to the end, but doesn't that mean that there isn't really much that the Tempest can do to win this?
Actually, Open does not play until the end. I think if this is a tie, Tempest might be the winners. So this might be winnable here and now, at least for the set.
Incoming in 30 seconds.
Now, this is going to be pretty difficult, but Bookshelf is on the Mei again. This could help in separating the Death Ball that is lining up. Jupiter is on the Widow, and Shill's on the Junkrat, but they do have Brigitte and the 2 Death Ball tanks. So a Mei wall could be very successful in sectioning members off for easy picks.
It is interesting to see Mosquito Game on the Ana, and I feel like he wants that nano for his tanks, either high energy Zarya or just your typical Ryan, nano Ryan.
It is interesting, though, given, again, how many roles the Tempest players have been switching back and forth from. Oh, but here comes the first wall. The tanks are sectioned off, and now Digi is in a very bad place. Anti-heal to boot. But not too much can be gained from that. No one died from either side.
No one's died yet, but the Death Ball isn't stopping, even with the Mei walls.
Oh, but Jupiter does go down, and the Mei wall sets Honor Caution up for a good charge, but he's at 48 health. He's going to go down. He has to get rezzed, but that's a very dangerous place for Syax to go. But with the Mei wall, it's going to be a little bit safer, and Unwanted getting pick after pick. This is going to be a further defense, and ooh, almost a shot onto Jupiter, but ends up losing that fight. The Tadpoles are recentering themselves. Oh no, but poor Brigitte, trapped on the other side. Pyrosanical is going to be dispatched. These Mei walls are coming in so useful. Without a Lucio, there's no way to get the whole team past the choke point fast enough to avoid getting walled off. And now Digi sectioned off again. A big biotic grenade to anti-heal a lot of people. And here comes the Mei ult. Mosquito did die, but Digi is next. And look at this, it's just free range. Yeah, picks mostly from the Tempest, a couple for the Tadpoles, but not a lot. Here comes the Tire, and that's pretty big, actually.
That's huge, actually. Where are the Tempest?
Well, they're dead.
They're not on here. They're all
killed
dead.
them all.
And I think that's going to be a victory for the Tadpoles.
That really was just stalemate for the Tadpoles until Shoals got a big Tire and 2 more picks. If anyone deserves play of the game, it's Shoals, even though Honor Caution had some good plays.
Yeah, this is probably going to be that thing right here where he knocks him into the pit.
Yeah, but environmental kills are pretty spicy in that play of the game algorithm, but the Earth Shatter just compounded it even further.
Oh, mid-res too, that was great.
So, again, we saw some really close gameplay between these two teams. We thought that Tempest might not finish it, and we saw both teams end up getting all 3 points, and then Tempest almost defended, but the Tadpoles did make it through, and that is going to bring this to a tiebreaker game 5.
Both teams showing they are very, very evenly matched. Our tiebreaker is going to be on, I believe, a control point map, as is the standard.
Yep, so I think this comes down to if Dive is viable on whatever King of the Hill map, because we've seen Deathball go to Tadpoles every map that it's the meta, and for Tempest, King of the Hill, Dive whenever they can run it. So it really comes down to what map we're going to, and it is going to be Lijiang Tower, which I would say is more Deathball oriented.
I would agree with you, especially in that one, the control center.
Yes, definitely the control center. Gardens are... You could probably run Dive with Pharah Mercy, but I'm not sure how good Tempest's Pharah is. I haven't seen a Pharah from either. I've just seen really good hit scan from both teams.
And while Night Market does benefit from the Pharah, I think also there you can see Deathball work very well.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Dive is a viable option, but I think Deathball is just going to be better overall on 2 out of the 3 maps. So we'll see how Tempest tries to adapt and take this game, or if Tadpoles is going to, after a pretty rugged fight back and forth, take the game on a game 5.
And I really think it's going to come down to a fight between the Tadpoles Deathball and the Tempest Dive. Because you can run both, except on that third point, the control center. But even if the Tempest give up that point and they win the other 2, they will win the series.
Yeah, it comes down to partly RNG on what map we go to, and mostly skill and positioning and what compositions both teams are good at. This is going to be, I think, a pretty good mix of everything we've seen so far, and should be the decider of which team is better, albeit from the slightest margin, because they're both so good. They've both had very good team play. They've both had a very good individual play.
And we've both seen similar mistakes from both teams. So a bit of overcommitment and a little bit of slightly out of sync ults, slightly out of sync target calling. But overall, those problems have not been enough to say either team is better than the other right now because of how close the games have been.
Absolutely. This really could go to either teams. Now, while we set up this last map, we are going to go to a short break before Game 5.
And here comes the final, Lijiang Tower.
At Lijiang Tower.
We're going to be heading in.
Looks like we're starting on Night Market, although it does tend to shuffle while we wait for people to get in.
So after all that is said and done, this map will decide who is victorious overall, and it is going to be the Night Market. This is where Deathball and Dive, I would say, are probably evenly viable.
Torbjorn less so.
Well,
Just slightly less so.
you know. You never know.
Memes, yeah.
Yeah, I think
But
going back to our discussion of the map, Night Market is pretty even for comps. Control Center, Deathball, and Night Market is Dive. So this is a very good map to start on to see how both teams clash with their compositions.
And exactly, I think, honestly, what it might come down to is which team wins this map if we give the other 2 maps to what we think the teams are specializing in, and what they've shown they specialize in.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, as much as we were talking about Deathball, we are seeing a little bit of a dive DPS from the Tadpoles.
Yeah, it's interesting. Tempest is definitely running dive comp. And
Yeah,
we do
Torbjorn,
see
central to dive.
Yeah, and we do see a mix. The most interesting thing I'm seeing from Tadpoles is Far Mercy with Deathball, but also Genji. So like you said, it is kind of divey. This is a mixed comp.
And one thing you really need to worry about is that Jupiter is going to have that Mercy, but he's playing against Unwanted, who's had some crazy Widow plays. Both these Widows very good.
Now the fight is onto the point. Thanks to being a mobile dive comp, Tempest does make it here first, but they need to get the first pick. Honor Caution is out of mech, and Stormshield's looking low on health. They need to make something happen, or else it's just gonna go all Tadpoles. And all Tadpoles it seems. Shoals does go down, but he's the only one. And a quick kill onto Mosquito Game. Tadpoles is going to finish this fight with a cap.
And a pretty quick take. I'm surprised that Jupiter has been as uncontested as he is, even with Unwanted on the enemy team.
Yeah, I think it came down to Jupiter's positioning. He went around the side of the point, and then he went inside the point where it's harder to get views into it, which is why we have Mosquito Game on the McCree now instead of Widow.
And Unwanted going on the counter Pharah.
Yeah, this is going to now be a Pharah fight. Jupiter, though, without a Mercy of his own, which is going to put Unwanted in the lead a little bit. That being said,
It really depends on
Jupiter's
who gets
Mercy
the
is
picks.
here. And right now, this 1v1 is still happening. Neither have gotten any picks, but the fight is on the point. It's a big, brutal duel. But
Big
Shoals...
blade from Shoals.
Yeah. It's a duel between Reinhardt's that Shoals interrupted and said, hold my sword. And it's going to be another pickup from the Tadpoles. And I don't know if you noticed...
Jumping in,
I don't know if you
jumping
noticed...
into the abyss.
Yeah, sorry. But we do see a big shift in the Tempest side of now we have a Reinhardt. Now we're half and half on that side as well, except the tanks are split. We have Reinhardt and
Yo.
D.Va, which is very odd.
What is going on with the Tempest right now? I really wonder if it might be just a bit of fatigue coming, just panicking, trying to get the best thing for the point.
Yeah, I
But
think
even
it
then,
just
there
comes
seems
down
to be-
to unsure what they're gonna play, and okay, Shoals ends up making it back from that charge. Storm Shield ends up killing himself, and this should really be another fight for the Tadpoles, which is very unfortunate, given how much Tempest is putting in.
Yeah, the Tempest started off strong, but they've kind of been petering out. And I really think that's coming down to... I don't know, I think there might be some interior discussion about what actually to play, because I don't see a single solid comp coming from them.
Yeah, well, now we have one, but it's too late.
Way too late. You have 1% left on the clock there.
But now we're gonna
I love
be...
Team Main.
I love Team Men. I don't know Swedish.
I don't either.
But now we're gonna go on to the night market, and this is the dive map. You don't really want to run Reinhardt or Zarya, given how easy it is to get booped off on the first bridge, which is why we are seeing some switches from Digi to Winston. I1 hasn't switched yet, and it doesn't look like we're going on to anti-dive Deathball with Tempest.
Oh, there's a Roadhog now too. I am so confused.
Yeah, you would think that this is the time for Tempest to run the dive, but it's actually Tadpoles that do it. They're going to be running dive with Pharmacy, and Tempest is kind of just doing this anti-dive deathball kind of comp.
Yeah, and
don't-
whatever comp they're running, the Tide Pods are really going to clean them up.
Yeah, it's a very bad position here to be this deathball in this choke point, especially against that Pharah. And
There
it's
goes
shown.
the DPS. There goes the healers. There goes the Rhine. That's going to be a take for the Tide Pods.
Yep, and now it's just going to be poor Roadhog who's going to jump off the cliff. Why aren't the Tempest running dive in the map where dive is viable?
I know. I don't... Okay, it looks like they might be switching to a more dive, but they still have Storm Shield on the Rhine.
This might be
No,
a situation...
no, they're going-
okay, no. He is going
They
to
are going
switch.
solid dive. They
They're running
realize
dive,
that they might be listening in.
but no mercy for the Pharah.
That is true.
Now,
Moira's
Unwanted-
great in dive, but when you have a Pharah who killed herself...
Yeah, she was trying to get a flank underneath, but it didn't work out at all. Jets ran out, and really, honestly, Tempest is looking pretty bad right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. The storm has passed.
I mean,
Where was all that fury we saw in the first couple of rounds? Even up to the tiebreaker.
yeah, I think it comes down to... Maybe you're right. Maybe they are fatigued. Maybe they're tired. But even then, this should be their time to shine because their dive is better than Tadpoles' dive. So where is it? Where's the mercy for the Pharah? Why are they running Moira with dive? What is happening right now?
Yeah.
Someone please
haven't
kill
mentioned-
Cool Matt, please.
We haven't mentioned the ult economy, but like we don't really need to. Look how
Yeah.
much that the Tide Pods have.
And because of the switches, the Tempest haven't really had time to get ult. And it's 67%, 70%, only one fight left. This is now or never for Tempest to stay in here, and it's looking pretty dire.
Yeah, they're gonna need a miracle to win this point.
They do
I
have...
don't even know. They'll need a really big Diva Bomb. That's really all they have. This could be it, but it gets no one.
Yeah, they got no one. Barriers are out. They're going to keep people alive a little bit longer. Baguette is low, but flies away thanks to the Pharah. Blade is out, and it does get one. Honor Caution finishes off Shoals. Now, if they get a couple more picks and take the point, they're still in this.
They got the point.
Diva Bomb on point, but maybe a bit too late unless it gets a weird triple kill. It does not. I1 goes down. But Bookshelf goes down now. Tempest needs to hold on to this, and they can't really afford to lose members if they can avoid it.
I don't like how far forward the Tempest is pushing right now. I know they want to chase the Tide Pods, but take your lead and be safe with it.
Yeah, they definitely need to be holding this part of the bridge like they are. Syx does get a nice boop onto Pyrosanical. That's exactly what he was looking for. So that's going to extend their time a little bit longer, but they still need to be careful. Meanwhile, Unwanted is getting closer to his visor despite this being a relatively recent pick.
And the Tide Pods are being forced back by this very aggressive play from the Tempest. Although, be careful in your aggression.
Yep, but
That's
I1 is coming up low health, needs to get healed back up, and Visor is getting oh so much closer. Honor Caution does have Moira ult. Bookshelf is going to have Diva Bomb soon. But
And the Tide
armor's
Pods
going to make
are
things a lot harder.
armoring up behind the point.
Yeah, they're
They're gonna
getting
make
ready
it
to
up.
take it. And here comes Blade. It got Syx. Shoals is going to go down, but Unwanted needs to get more value out of this Visor. He gets another, but he's going to get shut down by Jupiter. But the rest of Jupiter's ult gets shut down. Also, a 405 health Pharah is never something I want to see.
No, that's disgusting.
Back to 330 health, but I'm not sure this will be enough for Tide Pods to recap. Although Honor Caution does go down, so does Mech. Actually,
I
this
don't know
might be a
about
recap.
It's really just Winston on the point, and he gets knocked off by Brigitte.
Alright, this is going to come down to a Mosquito game to have a big Blade, or at least maybe wait. Nope, he doesn't have time, he has to go. And here comes the Blade, but there's so many people, who does he even
And
fight?
just the shield bash!
And now it's just a stall. Lucia barriers are out. Syx is going to stay on here a little longer, but I1 has the Diva Bomb. The staggers are coming in. I think this is going to be a Toronto Tide Pod win.
It really is, with Shoals dropping that blade too. Look at that dash reset. Iwan with the rockets, and that's gonna be the game.
And what a great game it was. So close, going to a Game 5 in this Open Division series. But in the end, Toronto Tide Pods are going to run away victorious.
HH indeed. Good play of the game by Pyrosanical. Probably a boop in there. At least one, if not several.
Well, it is going to start with a poor Lucio going down. And maybe it was just a bunch of assists.
That too.
But in any case, very good. I think... I don't know, it's just Toronto Tempest should have been in on this map. They should have been decent at the dive enough to put up a fight. I'm just...
Yeah, it was weird, and I really think what it came down to, I don't know if it was fatigue, I don't know if it was some arguments with the team, I don't know if it was the strategies falling apart, and I don't know if it was the Tide Pods adapting, but they fell apart in that last match.
Yeah. In any case, I think they need to figure out what they did wrong. It might have been that they didn't really have a good Pharah player. Like, their Pharah was decent, but they did have a much better chance when they switched to a full dive. You notice that that's when they recapped and took it to 87%. That's probably what they should have been running from the start. I think if Tempest focus on running what they are really good at, they have a better chance moving on in the future. They need to, in the situation, run the full compositions of that type, and B, you need to work on other comps. Because their Death Ball with Brigitte, the current meta, really needs to get upped if they want a chance in the current season.
That is true. Well, I think we saw some fantastic play from both sides.
Absolutely. And
and
after a
I
close
think
Game 5, I
I'm
think we're
looking
ready to
forward
go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Tempest improve.
Yep, but with that, we will see you later.
We will see you then.